Welcome to this explainer. Have you ever looked down your street or maybe thought about a family member and suddenly realized, wow, they've lived in the exact same house for 10, 20, maybe even 30 years? It's literally a fascinating phenomenon. Today we're going to explore the hidden reasons why some people just stay put for decades. It's a choice that seems pretty straightforward on the surface, but it actually reveals some incredibly profound truths about how the human mind works. So let's unpack this mystery by asking the big question. Why do people stay rooted for decades when they could, easily afford something bigger, newer, or closer to the action? They have the means to upgrade, the freedom to relocate, yet they never really seem interested. They just stay firmly planted right where they are.
Well, when we see someone staying in one spot for that long, we naturally assume it's simply a matter of money or convenience, right? We figure, okay, they must be locked into a killer mortgage rate, or maybe they just have a totally understandable fear of packing tape, endless cardboard boxes, and unearthing 30 years of accumulated stuff from the attic. But actually, psychology tells a completely different story. This choice isn't really about surface-level logistics, it's driven by much deeper, hidden layers of human nature. Okay, let's look at Section 1, House as Personal Identity.
It's super well documented in psychology that people often attach their identity to familiar places. Over the years, a house kind of stops feeling like a mere building made of wood and drywall. Actually, scratch that. It literally becomes an extension of who they are. Their daily routines live in those rooms. Their memories are permanently embedded in the scuff marks on the floorboards, or, those faint pencil lines measuring the kids' heights on the doorframe. Their very sense of self becomes inextricably tied to the physical space they occupy every single day.
And the emotional stakes here are just incredibly high. For someone who's lived in the space for decades, leaving can genuinely feel like losing a piece of their personal history. Moving away isn't just about hiring a moving truck and hauling furniture. It feels like they're physically severing a core piece of their own life story. It's a profound emotional loss, not just a simple change of address.
Moving right along to Section 2, the science of the familiar.
You see, our brains are actually scientifically wired to crave this kind of environment. Researchers call this the mirror exposure effect. It's a proven psychological tendency where the human brain overwhelmingly prefers what feels familiar. The math is really simple but incredibly powerful. The more we experience something, the safer it feels. Our brains are essentially these brilliant optimization machines that just relax the moment they don't have to scan for new, unfamiliar threats.
Think about what happens after living somewhere for decades. Every single room is known. Every sound, from the hum of the refrigerator to that one annoying creak on the third stair, is instantly recognizable. Every corner is completely predictable. And that predictability, it acts as a powerful, comforting shield. To the brain, predictability literally equals safety. When you know exactly what to expect, your nervous system can truly, finally rest.
Which brings us to Section 3, Memories and Mental Energy.
Memory is intensely, almost magically, connected to our physical environment. The house essentially becomes a literal storage system for our emotional lives. A certain room might suddenly bring back a childhood memory, or maybe the specific smell of a grandparent's home. Walking down a certain hallway triggers this flood of chaotic, beautiful family moments. Glancing out of a particular window might remind them of someone they deeply loved. To move away is to risk leaving all those beautifully vivid environmental triggers behind.
Plus, psychology shows us that major life changes require massive amounts of mental energy. Just think about the sheer exhaustion of moving. You're navigating new neighborhoods, establishing entirely new routines, and constantly adjusting to strange surroundings. The emotional tax of adapting to all of that is absolutely staggering. Meanwhile, the emotional cost of staying put is virtually zero. Staying simply feels easier and far safer because it totally bypasses that massive expenditure of mental energy entirely.
Now, let's dive into Section 4, the anchor of stability.
For a lot of people, a long-term home symbolizes so much more than just a roof over their heads to keep the rain out. It represents three massive psychological pillars: consistency, reliability, and control. We live in a world that is constantly, relentlessly changing, right? Jobs change, technology advances at lightning speed, society shifts. But amidst all that turbulence, the house becomes the one single thing that remains exactly the same. That unwavering stability provides an absolutely incredible level of emotional comfort.
And finally, Section 5, hidden human nature.
Because once you really grasp the hidden psychology behind staying in one house for 30 years, it kind of changes how you see the world. You begin to notice profound truths about human nature everywhere. It's not just about real estate anymore. It's about understanding how our deep biological need for identity, safety, and predictability drives behaviors that most of us completely overlook or, just write off as somebody being stubborn.
Which leaves us with a totally fascinating final thought for you to ponder today. What other seemingly practical choices in your everyday life are actually just your mind secretly seeking psychological safety? Think about the restaurants you always go back to, or those daily routines you simply refuse to break. Our brains are always looking for that comfortable anchor. Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer, and keep questioning the hidden psychology driving the world around you.